This is a day we set aside to honor and thank our veterans for the service they have given to protect and defend the United States and to keep our nation free. Please stand at this time and remove your hats for the presentation of the colors. After that, remain standing while our band plays our Star-Spangled Banner. Following the band, we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you to our band. Please remain standing and join me in the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
On this day especially, we want to thank the men and women who have served our country. At this time, we invite all those currently serving who have served every branch of our military to stand so we can show our appreciation. Sergeant Jeremy Schultz, Army National Guard. HM3 Brian Larson, Navy. BUCN Emma Peichel, Navy. And Corporal Miller Monk, Marine Corps. Let's give those graduates serving in the armed forces a round of applause.
want to be constrained by this podium, but I want to say thank you so much for the school to put on a program like this in honoring the veterans. It really means a lot to us. So I also thank Mr. Rasmussen for inviting me to be the speaker today and pass on what my military experience was like. For those that may not know, retired Air Force, spent 20 years, 7 days in the Air Force, and then went on to have another career working with the military in a civilian job. As you heard this morning, as we recited the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, for those that don't understand, don't know, that we live in a republic. Our nation, our form of government is a republic. It's not a democracy, it's a republic. And that republic is established through many pieces of paper, but the most important portion of it is the title that we have, and it's called the Constitution. That Constitution, like I said, forms our government, but it also provides 10 amendments that we call the Bill of Rights. And that is for each of us, for those that are civilians, for those in the military, but that's how we live our lives. That's how we conduct ourselves. And it's that Constitution that every member that has either enlisted or been commissioned in the military, they say an oath to protect and defend that Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And it is that right that us veterans so proudly respond to, because it means that you have a life of freedom, that you have a life that you can make choices. And because of that, one of the greatest gifts that, as far as you students, the rest of us had it also, but as far as you students have, and it's called an education. So I'm going to begin to tell you what my education did for me in order to prepare me to be a veteran in the military. So I started out in school, and by the 3rd grade, there was this realization that I couldn't read, and through just some fantastic teachers that I had, as far as the special education teachers. Also, at the time we called aides, paraprofessionals now. They diagnosed me with dyslexia. And because of that, I realized in my life that my greatest, disease, whatever, disability is also my greatest asset. And the reason I say that, I had, from 3rd grade to the day that I graduated from high school, I had these wonderful teachers that taught me how to conduct my education throughout the rest of my life. And it was by listening to them that I realized how I must teach myself to learn. They provided me the information, but I had to put it into practice. And I thank them so much for that. So that's how my Air Force career had taken off. And I will let you know that I did not have a stellar academic career. Great parents, very supportive. Great teachers here, very supportive. But my academic career wasn't really there. And it was through the other ways of learning from the special ed teachers that helped me. And when I entered high school as a 9th grader, I wanted to do something, but I really wasn't sure what it was. Believe me, I was very shy. I would never get up and speak in front of anybody. There were certain things that I enjoyed doing, like working with my hands. I did like history. But that wasn't going to be my whole career. I had to do something else. So I decided I needed to get involved in something. And there was a teacher at the time, Mr. Fossum, who was also a veteran, has passed away, had asked me if I wanted to learn how to engrave. So I thought, well, I'll be working with my hands, don't know anything about it. So he taught me how to engrave medals, plaques, different things. I didn't know that also meant I'd have to deal with another veteran. His name was Mr. Loomis, who was the athletic director. and that I would really be working for him. But what I learned was through him, because of the way that he conducted himself, very fantastic guy, and he's still around, Second World War vet, but he was a no-nonsense guy. He's going to tell you the way it was, and you had to learn to listen to him. You had to learn to understand that he has a schedule that he is going to meet, and you had to conform to that schedule, which was absolutely fantastic in the rest of my my military career. But what I learned from him, I would go pick up these medals for wrestling tournaments, invitationals, other things that were going on at the school. And I had to get out of myself. I had to learn to be uncomfortable in front of people, which meant that I had to go and find out what time the art room was open. I know there was classes in there, what my schedule was as far as going through school, when I had the study halls, whether I needed to come into school before, or come in before school or after school, but I had to make time, so I had to lay out a priority for myself. Also to figure out a way of expediently getting through whatever it was that I had been asked by him to do, but also with the understanding that anytime I saw Mr. Loomis out in the hall, and Mr. Loomis is not a guy that is shy, and he would holler across the hall, "Hey, Corfa, you dealt those medals yet?" And there may have been some that I just picked up the day before, and I'd say, "No, Mr. Loomis, I'm not." He said, "Well, what's going on? What's taking you so long? Get done with it." And so I learned very quickly that there are going to be people out there that are tracking where you're at as far as a progress. And he was just so instrumental in learning, laying out of timelines, laying out that I work for somebody and they have their expectations. Also that I had to meet those expectations and those timelines that person had prioritized for me. Towards the end of my freshman year, there was an opportunity that came up, and it was with sports, baseball. And I'll let you folks know, you can probably tell in profile here, I'm not an athlete. Never was very good at athletics, but there was an announcement that they're looking, for anybody that wanted to get out and play baseball, to meet at a room after school. And I knew that the coach was Mr. Rilson. And I had enjoyed him as far as being a teacher, a FIA teacher, when I was in middle school. So I stopped in there and I said, "Mr. Rilson, would you be looking for a manager?" And he said, "Yes, I am." And I learned so much from him. I thought at first, I'd just be the bat boy, run through, grab the bat, and I'll stand at the entrance of the dugout. And I learned that that's not what he was looking for. That there were certain things that he wanted done, and he laid out, again, like a Mr. Loomis, but just laid out those expectations, but in such a nice, gentle way of doing it, that I really started feeling that I was part of that team, that there was importance there. So I realized through that I had to be the first one out there and the last one to leave the diamond. So right after school, I'd go get all the equipment, get it all laid out. Mr. Wilson would tell me, certain things that he'd like done, and I made sure that those things were done. And at the end of practice, I would collect up all the equipment, make sure it was brought in. This is back in the days before there was any type of, say, golf carts or quads or anything like that. I carried all that stuff out there by myself. But it was a sense of understanding that people need certain things. That for a team to have a successful practice, team to get out to, say, those visiting schools, that they had to have everything readily available, and somebody had that responsibility. And Mr. Wilson, Coach Wilson, had imparted that upon me to help me out, to have an understanding. And so I realized so much about being prepared to enter something, to do something, but also that sense of belonging. And so I went on in my my high school career. I did baseball, coached baseball managed baseball for 4 years, basketball for 3 years, and football for 2 years. And each of the coaches that I picked up from them, it was all about a process, all about doing certain things at a certain time, understanding that you have to start always at the beginning. Wherever you're going to be at, you have to start at the beginning to solve problems. So I'm sure you're asking, okay, so what does that have to do with an Air Force career, or career in the military? When I graduated from high school, I enlisted in the United States Air Force September 24th. I raised my right hand, made that solemn vow to defend the Constitution of the United States, and I was off to basic training. And my first duty station was RAF Bentwaters Woodbridge over in the UK. Young, green kid, but I realized that the time that I spent here at school, the time that I spent with mentors, coaches, teachers, especially those with that helped me, the special ed teachers, that I understand how I have to learn, I have to listen, I have to see things, I have to correlate putting things together. There was that understanding that it's going to take me a while to read things, and I still struggle with reading, but putting things together so that way it makes sense in my mind. So I spent a lot of time not with young folks my age as far as the peers in the military. I spent more time with the senior NCOs, talking to them, finding out, getting involved in the aircraft. It was an A-10, but getting involved in the aircraft that I was asked to work on. I also learned, and I'm sure maybe many of you have heard this, I never volunteer for anything. Well, I realized quickly in the military, there is never volunteer for anything, but there's also, coming from those NCOs, there's the voluntold. And I would rather volunteer versus being voluntold to do something. So anytime there's something would come up, we had to tow an aircraft, jack an aircraft, stay late, whatever, I'll do that. And what it did was it started to show the people around me that I had a sense of the duty and commitment that I'd made to the military, and which helped me with my promotions. I was promoted out of cycle, so early, going into preparing for the NCO ranks. It was also something where there was promotions. So just because I was an aircraft mechanic didn't mean that that's all I was going to do. There are other jobs within that. And the senior NCOs, the officers would see that and they'd say, hey, we think you're ready for this, which helped out immensely, especially as I progressed through my time. I went to Japan next and started out inspecting aircraft, and I went into being the non-commissioned, assistant non-commissioned officer in charge of a wheel and tire dart section. So we'd take the wheels that came off the airplanes, we would separate it. It was a drop center, which meant that there was a lot of safety that was involved. So you weren't pulling a wheel and tire assembly apart that was still filled with air. That would be the last thing you'd pull apart, because at the end of that, or before you finished that, you'd be dead with that drop center, because it would explode and take you out. So there were things that I did at that wheel and tire shop where I was very cautious with the folks that started working for me as an NCO to ensure their safety. And then also being very involved with the engineering side of it. So there's always engineers that are out there from respected companies, and so we had the Fairchild engineers there, and so I was involved with them, talking to them, just trying to figure out how does this airplane work. And excuse me, this is F-16, so it was the General Dynamics guys, but I had an opportunity when I was there to go to Thailand. This was 1988, and so here I am, this guy that doesn't read very well. I'm taking all of these things that I've learned throughout my career, things that I've set myself up for. We show up at Thailand with the F-16 C and D models, and the Air Force is making that transition of these F-16 A and B models, and they were putting them into storage, and also the ability for foreign sales. Thailand at the time had 2 F-16 A and B models. They happened to be at Krod Air Base where we went to there for a month. And it was their 2 greatest assets, military-wise. So the first Thai Air Force wing had these F-16s, and the guys that I went with, there's quite a few of us, but we were tasked with also helping train the Thais. And I'm thinking, when they asked me, I'm thinking, well, I can't read myself. How am I going to train these people? I don't even speak their language. There were 4 guys that worked at the wheel and tire shop. One of them could speak some English, could read English. He'd gone through a linguist school, and so I kind of worked through him. But I started having this relationship because I knew where I was at when I was young like you. Meaning that there was that humility of I struggle with certain things in learning, and I want to pass that on. So I know how I felt, and so I'm sure that they had felt the same way, these Thai guys. But we just started having this great bond. It was about 1.5 miles where we parked our American F-16s, and I would grab a Coke and walk down the runway, or along the runway, get to the wheel and tire shop with my Coke. And we had such a bond that there was this one man, and I was only like 23. There was one of the Thai Air Force guys had seen that after a couple of days, and every day we'd walk in and I would have class. He would come in with a Coke and he would set it on the desk. Instead of an apple, he'd set this Coke on the desk for me. And he kind of that signal, classes in session. So I'm trying to explain to them how, the best way, it's kind of on-the-job training, how to disassemble these wheel and tires sections and inspect them. I have the interpreter who's with me, doesn't speak great English, and I'm showing them the technical orders that we use along with the pictures that were provided, and their pictures are great for a guy like me. And I would kind of read, he would interpret for them, and then I would point at the picture, and then I would point at the wheel. And after about a week and a half of doing that portion of it, I would start working with the Thai guys when their wheels and tire assemblies would come in, we would start our class, our session. I would pull out the TO, and I would work with these guys. Like I said, I didn't speak their language, they didn't speak my language. The interpreter was always there. But just showing them, pointing, 1, we're gonna do this, 2, we're gonna do this, 3, and one morning there was the guy that brought me the Coke, he and I were bent over one of their assemblies, and we do 1, and it's remove the snap ring. 2 was remove a grease seal that covered the bearing, kept the grease in there. And as he pulled that grease seal out, he looked at that picture, he looked at me and started shaking his head. Stuck in that grease seal was a spacer. And it was very critical that that spacer stayed with the airplane. And that's what would seat the bearings to the axle, and then would apply pressure after it was torqued and you backed off the torque to apply pressure to keep the bearings from spinning on the axle. So for those, I don't know if anybody welds here, if your shop class, if you started that yet, but when you have 2 pieces of metal that are spinning extremely quick, one thing you get, something will become magnetized, the second thing it'll do is weld itself. So when you have aircraft that are coming in over 200 miles an hour and your axles start spinning on your bearings start spinning on an axle, you're gonna have something that's gonna weld and you're gonna destroy something. So I looked at that guy and I shook him, I nodded my head yes. He knew that there was something wrong. I got with the General Dynamics guy and said, hey, we got, phone. I got with the General Dynamics guy and I said, hey, we got a problem here. Don't know if the Thai F-16s are flying or not, but explained to him what was going on as I'm listening to aircraft take off, knowing they were either ours, F-16s, or theirs, and sure enough, one of theirs had taken off. It happened to be the one that did not have that spacer installed. So, working with General Dynamics, you know, hey, what do we do with this airplane that's flying? Kind of working with them, get off as much fuel as possible, how to come in and land. And I'm thinking, I'm not an engineer, just practical things as far as just talking to people, learning from things, let them fly the mission, burn off as much fuel as possible so he's as light as possible, and have the aircraft come in. It was long runway. Maybe some of you veterans that are out there, if you were in the Air Force, maybe you were at CROT during the Vietnam War, and understand you're looking at a 1.5 miles, almost 2 mile long runway. So there's a lot of runway that you can use to slow down an aircraft. And it successfully landed. A couple of days later, I'm standing in front of a room like this, and there's the Thai pilots, and I am being decorated by the wing commander from the 1st Royal Thai Air Wing for saving one of their greatest assets, an F-16. And I was just, I was floored because that's not what I expected. I just figured I was doing my job. But that job was done because I had an education. I took that time. Sarah, how much time do I have left? Not much. 10 minutes? Oh, okay, gotcha. So I'm gonna finish up with one last story. And this is one that happened many years later. I had a successful career, like I said, working on the Nevada test range, classified programs, also tying during the war. I was in Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and eventually out to California to work the flight test program. Very small program, and when I am processed with this lieutenant colonel. So I'm enlisted, I'm an E5, staff sergeant, he's lieutenant colonel, and he happens to be the next operations officer for our squadron. So we had two flying officers, like I said, very small, less than 40 enlisted people, a lot of Lockheed Martin mechanics and their entourage of folks, but we worked closely together. And I got to, the aircraft I worked on was an experimental aircraft. It was a YF aircraft. And I got to be very close to this lieutenant colonel because he happened to be the pilot on the aircraft that I was assigned to. Spent a lot of time doing classified missions, and they were never at nice times. Started about 11 o'clock at night, ended about 3 o'clock in the morning. And we had the task of testing radar cross-section of the aircraft. So he eventually retires from the Air Force, gets a job at Lockheed Martin as a test pilot. I eventually retire from the Air Force and get a job at Lockheed Martin, working systems engineering, and then into quality management, where I oversaw the modification of military aircraft. This guy, his name was Lieutenant Colonel Dave Cooley, called him Cools. So Dave is up at Edwards Air Force Base flying as a test pilot on the F-22. I'm down at the Lockheed plant on Air Force Plant 42, and we would run across each other from time to time as he would come down and fly the aircraft that we had modified before we sent them back out to the wing. And one of the things, like I said, we became very good friends. One of the things that I told myself, I've got to tell Cool sometime when he's down here, what he meant to me as a mentor. The things that he did for me in flight tests to help me get this job at Lockheed. Not that he pulled any strings, but it just set me up as far as working with engineers, having an understanding of flight tests. And I thought, I've got to tell Cool someday, just thank you. And every time he would come down, I would try to make the time, but I would get busy doing things. I thought, next time Cools comes down here, I'll make sure I tell him thank you. So I came down, and this was in March, early March of 2009, and there were some maintenance issues with the aircraft that he was going to do a check flight on. So I overheard him talking to one of the guys about, hey, I got this mission. I brought my flight deck down with me for an upcoming test mission. I'm just going to sit in this room and I'll go through this flight deck, preparing myself for this next test that we're going to do up at Edwards. Just let me know when the aircraft is ready. And I thought, maybe I should go in there and just talk to Kugels. But yeah, he's probably busy. I'll catch him the next time he comes down. The aircraft didn't fly. He went back up to Edwards. I didn't take the time to sit down with Kugels. And it was probably 5 days later, the mod manager came into my office and said, hey, just got a call from Edwards Air Force Base. They lost an F-22. Take a look at our records, find out if we ever did a modification on that aircraft, and if so, impound them, because they'll need them for the accident investigation report. He gave me the tail number, and started looking through the records, and we didn't do any, down at Plant 42, we didn't do any modifications on it. So I went to his office and said, no, we were clean, we didn't have any modifications on that aircraft. I said, hey, by the way, who's the pilot that was flying? And, anybody say anything? I said, no, they haven't released any information yet, but once they do, I'll let you know. And it was probably an hour and a half later. He walked to my office and said, hey, Edwards called, did they released the pilot's name, and I looked at him and I said, don't tell me it's Kugels. And he said, yeah, it was. And I've regretted ever since. I never took the time to tell Kugels what he meant to me. And I tell you that is something that I never learned in school. That's something that as you go through life, there are going to be those times when you're going to have loss. And you can't prepare yourself for it. You can try to do certain things. But one of the biggest things with loss is don't ever regret not telling somebody what they meant to you, how they have helped you. Students, you have the opportunity now to tell your teachers thank you for what they're doing for you, to prepare you for life. Make sure you do that. Tell your coaches, if there's somebody out there that has just really done a lot for you, make sure you tell them thank you. For everyone here, including the students, you have that opportunity to tell veterans, thank you. Thank you for the sacrifices that you've made. Thank you for defending this country so I have the freedoms. Thank you for giving me a life where I don't have to worry about what I do and what I say, because I have the first 10 amendments in the Bill of Rights that allow me to have that. And believe me, veterans are so proud to ensure that they protect them. And one last thing, boys, real men cry. When it hurts, don't be ashamed to shed some tears, because I sure did. As you can tell, even now, that was back in 2009 when I lost a dear friend. So, thank you very much. I hope I'm within my time, but I really appreciate all of you coming out again. Thank you, Painesville Area School, and all of those special ed teachers that helped set me up to have an understanding of who I was and how I learned. Thank you.
Thank you, Master Sergeant Corford, for your inspiring message. At this time, the band will be playing Hail America. They will be singing Thank You, Soldiers, Armed Forces, and Melody.
We have one more song. The United States Army. The United States. The United States Navy.
you are required. Now please stand as we invite our Legion members forward to carry the card. This concludes our Veterans Day program. Thank you for joining us this morning. Please remember to thank a veteran for their service. Middle school students, you are dismissed to your second